You know, it's mad to think that some of the world's biggest challenges might have answers buried in the past. I've been reading about how people are blending ancient wisdom with modern innovation, and honestly, it's fascinating. For example, did you know nearly half of the world's 7,000 languages are endangered? Some of these languages carry knowledge about ecosystems and medicine that we might never rediscover. Or here's another. The amount of plastic we throw away every year could fill a football stadium over 1,000 times. That's a stadium full of waste every few hours. And yet, indigenous communities, who make up less than 5% of the world's population, protect 80% of our biodiversity, basically the variety of all life, from tiny bugs to the biggest animals. Welcome back to Radiant Reports, where we dive into stories that spark curiosity, celebrate resilience, and show us that even in the middle of challenges, there's always room for inspiration. Let's journey together through the incredible, the creative, and the downright courageous, and see how people around the world are shaping a brighter future. So what does it mean to thrive? Did you know that nearly 90% of the data ever created by humanity was generated in just the last 2 years? Yet much of the world's wisdom has been preserved for centuries in oral traditions and art. These stories remind us that resilience, creativity, and heritage are the keys to navigating a rapidly changing world. But in a time when we're racing to build a future, what might we lose if we leave the past behind? Let's explore. What if one of space exploration's most pressing problems could be solved by something as simple as a tree? It sounds surprising, doesn't it? But Japan has found a way to make it happen. Meet Lignosat, the world's first wooden satellite, launched in November 2024. Developed by Kyoto University in collaboration with Sumitomo Forestry, Lignosat isn't just an impressive feat of engineering.
Former Japanese space shuttle astronaut Takao Doi was part of the Kyoto team.
If we can use materials that humans can make and bring them to outer space, people will be able to create a sustainable society. Therefore, we want to find out if wood can be used in space or not, and that's why we made this wooden satellite.
It's a game changer for sustainability in space. At its heart is magnolia wood, a material specifically chosen for its remarkable strength and dimensional stability, which means it can handle the immense pressures and temperature extremes of space without warping or breaking down.
The wood used for the satellite comes from a type of magnolia tree, Japanese hanoki. Traditionally, it is easy to process and resistant to shattering, which is why it is typically used for things like the scabbards of Japanese swords and the blades of Japanese wooden sandals due to its strength.
The problem it's tackling is no small one. Right now, there are over 40,500 objects larger than 10 centimeters and an estimated 130 million smaller fragments orbiting Earth. Together, these pieces weigh more than 9,000 tons. That's like the combined weight of 50 Boeing 747 aeroplanes circling the planet. And this debris isn't just floating around harmlessly. It poses a real threat to satellites, space stations, and future missions. Most traditional satellites are made of metals like aluminium, which, when they burn up upon re-entry, often leave harmful residues in the atmosphere. Lignosat, on the other hand, burns up completely without leaving a trace, making it a true trailblazer in sustainable space technology. But this isn't just about cleaning up space. Lignosat's mission is also a research tool, transmitting data on how wood reacts to harsh conditions like radiation and extreme temperature swings. The results could pave the way for sustainable materials not only in satellites, but potentially in future habitats on the Moon or even Mars. What's really fascinating is the collaboration behind it. Material scientists meticulously analyze the cellular structure of magnolia wood, using their expertise in biology and physics to test how each fiber could withstand the intense conditions of space. Engineers then took that knowledge and transformed it into a fully functional satellite, blending ancient materials with cutting-edge technology. It's proof that when you bring together experts from different fields, you can achieve something extraordinary. As Professor Koji Murata of Kyoto University said, "By using wood, we aim to reduce the environmental impact of satellites and promote sustainability in space exploration." And it's not just about sustainability in space, it's about protecting critical systems on Earth, from GPS to weather forecasting and global communications. In a way, Lignosat's mission is as much about preserving our interconnected world as it is about exploring new frontiers. If this story has you intrigued, there's so much more to discover. Channels like EcoSpace Explorers dive into sustainable innovations in space, while Green Orbit Insights explores the impact of space debris on our planet. For more in-depth reading, you can also check out the European Space Agency's Guide to Space Debris or NASA's Orbital Debris Program Office. Links are in the description below. Japan's wooden satellite shows how tradition can fuel innovation. But did you know there are over 3,000 endangered languages today? Each one holds untapped potential for rediscovering ancient knowledge. Let's explore how one man is working to save an extinct language. Imagine being the last person on Earth who speaks your language. For decades, Blas Jaime carried that burden, knowing that if he didn't act, the Chana language, once spoken by indigenous communities in Argentina and Uruguay, would vanish forever. Blas, now 89 years old, learned Chana from his mother through oral traditions. For centuries, this language was considered extinct until Blas stepped forward, revealing himself as its sole living speaker.
Lo conocí por una persona que me quería saludar porque era amiga de mi hermano y el esposo de esta señora, que es profesor de guaraní, me presentó como un hermano chaná que hablaba el idioma, y la señora dijo: ¿cómo va a hablar idiomas si no existen los chaná? Y el idioma men. Yo le dije: pero sí, él habla, el hermano. Hablaban conmigo chaná y eso.
In recent years, his efforts to preserve the language have gained global attention, especially with the resurgence of interest in 2024 as he continues to share his story. In 2005, Blas teamed up with linguist José Pedro Villegas Barros. Together, they co-authored a book documenting Chana's vocabulary, grammar and pronunciation, rebuilding the language piece by piece. Their work didn't just preserve words, it reignited interest in the history and identity of the Chana people. Eventually, the language gained official recognition, restoring a piece of cultural heritage that many thought was lost forever. Why does this matter? Languages like Chana aren't just a way of communicating, they're carriers of ecological wisdom, historical perspectives, and unique ways of understanding the world. When we lose a language, we lose a piece of humanity's collective knowledge.
Despojarlos de su identidad cultural, supuestamente pagana, y a los más rebeldes los torturaban y mataban. Las reducciones como las de Soriano, Victoria o Varadero dan cuenta de ello. Se vendían las tierras con indios adentro, como si fueran animales, sometiéndolos a la esclavitud.
Efforts to save endangered languages extend far beyond Argentina. For example, the Endangered Languages project collaborates with indigenous communities worldwide to document and teach at-risk languages, often using technology like online dictionaries and virtual lessons. Platforms like the Living Tongues Institute are doing incredible work to revitalize languages through digital storytelling and audio archives. As Blas Jaime once said, a language is a world, and when a language dies, a world disappears.
Porque posiblemente cuando sano esté Don Blas, sano es a nadie. Eso forma parte del patrimonio de la cultura intangible argentina, tiene que quedar.
Porque el contenido de lo que queda del idioma chaná seguramente habrá sido mucho más amplio, pero como fueron muchas generaciones, hace casi 300 años que no hay pueblos chaná organizados, y como los españoles prohibían a los descendientes de los pueblos originarios hablar sus idiomas, se fue perdiendo.
His dedication reminds us of the power one person has to safeguard cultural heritage, and it's not just about saving the past, it's about inspiring the future. If you'd like to dive deeper into language preservation, check out the Endangered Languages Project and Living Tongues Institute, which offer resources to learn more. Links to these platforms and channels are in the description. Preserving endangered languages safeguards ways of understanding the world that modern systems sometimes overlook. Did you know indigenous communities manage 25% of the Earth's land, but protect 80% of its biodiversity? Imagine what could be achieved if these time-tested perspectives were applied more widely to address today's ecological challenges. In the heart of Tanzania, the Maasai women are leading a quiet yet transformative movement in conservation. Traditionally, the Maasai have lived in harmony with the land, relying on it for their pastoral way of life.
Piga pictures mingi kuhusu climate change. Inasaidia sana watu kujua maisha ya wakati.
But in recent years, challenges like forced evictions from conservation areas have threatened their existence, displacing communities and disrupting their connection to ancestral lands.
Na mpaka abiria waingie msokoni amir beru mkulie nguruma wale na nabisha hii na wale na rangi tore rangi nguruma niwe arabalua jo erara rangai ko lungona gelingishu niwe hinasa solo arana ara ngishu adola jo o era sasera niwe ninda fautisha ka mori nonari niwe ara jo nonari gona.
Yet, amid these hardships, Maasai women have emerged as powerful stewards of the environment. Through organizations like the Pastoral Women's Council, they've taken charge of their livelihoods and the land they hold sacred.
They're being affected by climate change significantly. But when we look at the global climate movement, majority of their stories were not being represented. Despite the language barriers that exist between them and other people, it allows them to speak in a language that's understandable across the world. Some of the photographs will find their way into policy discussions where we have the women who come and they meet the policymakers and they talk about the different issues that are important to them.
For the first time, Maasai women are securing ownership of land, engaging in cross-border trade and advocating for their rights, breaking centuries-old norms while promoting sustainable development. Their contributions go far beyond economic empowerment. By championing sustainable grazing practices and participating in decision-making processes, these women are playing a crucial role in preserving Tanzania's biodiversity.
Sasa hivi mvua kama ijanyesha, watu wanauza ng'ombe zao na kuzihifadhi pesa kwa banka.
Ore nara nakata, ore siai ormanyara lena kopang kitayoloito ajo ibelekenya enkop.
From protecting endangered species like elephants and lions to safeguarding ecosystems that have supported generations, their approach combines traditional ecological knowledge with modern conservation strategies. Consider this: indigenous communities like the Maasai manage 25% of the Earth's land, yet protect 80% of its biodiversity. This dual role as guardians of nature and advocates for their communities is vital to the health of our planet. But the journey is far from easy. Maasai women continue to fight against land dispossession and the lack of recognition for their rights. Their resilience reminds us that conservation must be inclusive, one that respects the voices and knowledge of those who have lived in harmony with nature for generations. As we learn from their example, platforms like the Pastoral Women's Council and Indigenous Peoples' Rights International offer invaluable resources on how you can support Indigenous-led conservation efforts. If this story resonates with you, explore organizations like Indigenous Environmental Network, which champions environmental justice for Indigenous communities, or Cultural Survival, sharing powerful stories of resilience and advocacy worldwide. Indigenous knowledge can do more than preserve ecosystems. It can inspire creative expressions that connect us to nature and each other. Studies show that public art projects, especially those rooted in cultural heritage, can increase community engagement by up to 30%, fostering deeper connections to shared traditions and histories. How might storytelling in its most striking forms help preserve cultural identity and inspire future generations? In the heart of Hamilton, New Zealand, a monumental mural has transformed Anglesey Street into a vibrant celebration of Maori culture and heritage. Spanning 248 metres in length and reaching up to 11 metres in height, it's not just the largest mural in Aotearoa, it's a powerful symbol of community pride and artistic expression. The mural is the creation of Te Wetu Collective, a team of 3 Maori artists, Poi Hakena Ngawati of Waikato Tainui, Hana Maihi of Ngati Mahana, and Te Haunui Tuna of Ngai Tuhoe. Together they've woven a visual narrative that tells the story of the Waikato River, the Tū bird, and the face of a wahine representing Matariki, the Maori New Year. Each element celebrates the fertility of the land, the connection between people and nature, and the enduring strength of Maori traditions. As artist Hana Maihi explained, we wanted the mural to reflect our whakapapa, our genealogy, and the deep relationship our people have with the Waikato River. It's about showing how our past and present connect through this wenua, or land. But this mural isn't just about creating a beautiful artwork. It's about reclaiming space and identity. The wall, once a stark expanse of concrete, now tells stories that connect the land to its people, fostering a deeper sense of belonging and pride within the community. Public art projects like this have been shown to increase community engagement by up to 30%, while also inspiring cultural pride and unity. What's unique here is the scale of the collaboration. The Te Wetu Collective combined modern techniques with ancestral stories, creating a mural that honors Maori heritage while resonating with today's world. Art like this serves as a bridge, connecting generations and reminding us of the importance of preserving Indigenous traditions in the face of modern challenges. Globally, this mural has drawn attention to the role of Indigenous art in shaping urban spaces and fostering understanding across cultures. From murals in Australia highlighting Aboriginal Dreamtime stories to large-scale artworks in Canada celebrating First Nations heritage, public art is emerging as a powerful tool for amplifying Indigenous voices and building cultural bridges. For those inspired by this story, there's more to explore. The Auckland Art Gallery's exhibition, Toi Tu Toi Ora, Contemporary Maori Art, offers a comprehensive look into the evolution of Maori artistry. Platforms like Indigenous Environmental Network Hainan dive into the intersection of art and activism, while Cultural Survival highlights similar initiatives led by Indigenous communities worldwide. You'll find links to these platforms in the description. Art has the power to transform perspectives, but systemic change often requires bold leadership. In countries with reduced corruption, studies show citizens experience up to 20% greater access to essential services like healthcare and education. Imagine the impact of ethical governance on communities where access to these basics has been limited for generations. In August 2024, Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus stepped into a critical role as head of Bangladesh's interim government, following the resignation of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina amid widespread protests. For a country grappling with systemic corruption and a lack of public trust, Yunus's leadership offered a renewed sense of hope. One of his first and most impactful actions was addressing corruption, an issue that has long hindered Bangladesh's progress. Under his leadership, independent anti-corruption commissions were strengthened and stricter regulations were introduced to ensure transparency in public offices. These measures have already led to the prosecution of high-profile individuals, sending a clear message that accountability is now a cornerstone of governance.
Well, lots of challenges. One is kind of taking responsibility of a country after a huge eruption, a revolutionary situation that the students have created, and which led to the fall of the regime which was occupying the country. And everything was in total disorder.
But Yunus's vision goes beyond rooting out corruption. His administration has introduced judicial reforms to depoliticize the judiciary, ensuring that judges are appointed based on merit rather than political influence. Alongside these efforts, electoral reforms are underway, aiming to restore public confidence in Bangladesh's democratic process and create a fairer system for future elections.
When you talk about reform, this was the kind of wish list for the students and the common people who joined the revolution to reform everything, because everything was done in a way to promote single person, single family. The whole thing belonged to them.
What sets Yunus apart is his focus on the people. Economic recovery and social initiatives have been prioritized, with targeted support for small and medium-sized enterprises, which form the backbone of the country's economy. At the same time, improvements in healthcare and education services have been accelerated, making essential resources more accessible to citizens. For example, under these reforms, healthcare access has expanded by 20%, providing much-needed relief to rural communities. Globally, Yunus's administration has fostered stronger international relations, working with global organizations to align Bangladesh's reform agenda with international best practices.
Refugees in, and how will you deal with the Rohingya issue?
The Rohingyas are trickling in as trouble begins in Rakhine. More and more presence of the arms conflict in the nearby area. And Rohingyas are trying to find a way to escape that. They're coming towards Bangladesh. We can't stop them. We can't push them.
These partnerships have not only bolstered anti-corruption efforts, but have also attracted investment for sustainable development programs. As Muhammad Yunus himself said, development isn't just about economics. It's about creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. His approach serves as a reminder that ethical governance isn't just a theoretical ideal. It's a tangible path to societal well-being. Of course, challenges remain. Political opposition and the pressures of leading a transitional government are significant hurdles. However, the progress made so far offers a glimpse of what's possible when leadership is driven by integrity and vision. If you're inspired by Yunus's reforms, consider exploring platforms like Transparency International, which highlights global anti-corruption efforts, or Leadership for Change, a channel dedicated to showcasing transformative governance stories worldwide. The World Bank and the United Nations also provide in-depth reports on Bangladesh's development journey. Links to these resources are in the description below. Art has the power to transform perspectives, but systemic change often requires bold leadership. Imagine the impact of ethical governance. In August 2024, a remarkable achievement in the world of filmmaking came from Nigeria. Young filmmakers from Lagos won the prestigious Stories for Change Award at an international film festival for their groundbreaking short film tackling the global crisis of plastic pollution. This win isn't just a celebration of creativity, but also a testament to the power of storytelling to spark social change and raise awareness about critical environmental issues. The film, which was created under the banner of the Nigerian Filmmakers for Environmental Advocacy, uses compelling visuals and narrative techniques to address the devastating effects of plastic waste on both urban and rural landscapes. By highlighting how plastic waste harms local ecosystems, the filmmakers raise an urgent call to action for cleaner, more sustainable practices. In Nigeria, plastic pollution is a huge challenge, with the country generating an estimated 2.5 million tons of plastic waste annually.
In fact, if you stay for Lekki and the environs and you not get Keno, now or you'll be your name. Now, the government, with the citizens, they complain to, they tell them, say, man, they can't fix the area. The government don't talk, say, now we, the citizens, now they are at fault because we they dump our plastic, our rubber, or the drainage, we're not supposed to dump her.
Cities like Lagos are facing a massive buildup of plastic, with about 870,000 tons produced each year. But beyond just numbers, this plastic waste often ends up in waterways, contributing to ocean pollution and harming marine life.
And by 2070, if we do not stop our dumping of plastics, it is estimated that the amount of plastics in the ocean will outweigh the number of fish. Meaning that one day a fisherman will cast his net and all that will be left in the ocean is plastic. Every day on my way to school, I see people cutting down trees to make space for roads and urbanization without planting them back. We are forgetting the fact that clean, stable oxygen comes from.
The filmmakers want to turn this crisis into an opportunity for change, showing how art can not only inform but also inspire action. This film was a pivotal piece in shining a spotlight on the grassroots efforts being made to combat plastic waste in local communities. The young filmmakers not only used their art to bring attention to the issue, but they also showed the global impact of local actions. By working with environmental organizations, local schools, and community leaders, they have helped create a broader conversation on the topic. Their success also highlights the role of collaboration between film, science, and community advocacy. Through their lens, the film reinforces the idea that environmental issues cannot be tackled in isolation. Rather, they require cross-disciplinary efforts where creativity, activism, and scientific research combine to create innovative solutions for sustainable living. What's more, these filmmakers' efforts aren't just about raising awareness, they're about action. The film inspired local initiatives that include community cleanups, plastic waste recycling programs, and eco-friendly alternatives to plastic products.
We cannot continue to be part of the problem when we can be the solution. Who wants to treat the environment kindly by cleaning up the streets with me tomorrow and creating awareness about the dumping of plastics? I don't see the excitement. Great. So I want you all to come with plans to school next week. Something we can plan to remind the earth that we are grateful and we will.
These grassroots movements are not only tackling the plastic crisis in Nigeria, but also helping to shift the public narrative on sustainable living. As one of the filmmakers, Ayotunde Akintoye, said, "This is just the beginning. We want to show the world that young people, especially in developing nations like ours, are not just passive recipients of change. We're creators, innovators, and leaders who can change the narrative on environmental sustainability." For those interested in exploring more about innovative solutions to plastic pollution, channels like Eco Innovators dive into real-world applications of sustainable materials and practices. Green Solutions also covers youth-led environmental initiatives and their role in shaping a cleaner future. In addition, the United Nations Environment Programme provides insights on global efforts to combat plastic pollution. Links to these resources can be found in the description below. So what do these stories teach us? Well, they show us that innovation doesn't always come from the big names or the institutions we hear about every day. It often comes from places we least expect. Whether it's blending ancient wisdom with modern technology or finding new ways to tackle old problems, change is happening everywhere. But the big question is, how will you contribute? The challenges we face, whether environmental, social, or cultural, may seem daunting, but they are not beyond our reach. What if the solutions are already in front of us? What if they've been there all along, waiting for us to recognize them and take action? If today's stories inspired you, why not dive deeper? Join me on this journey as we explore resilience, creativity, and innovation together. Please like, subscribe, and share this video to help bring more voices into the conversation. Your support helps me reach more people and keep these important discussions going. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. What solutions or ideas would you add to these stories? I'm always keen to hear from you and keep the dialogue going. Don't stop here. There's always more to learn, more to do. Check out the links in the description for additional resources to continue your journey. Remember, every step you take is part of something much bigger. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and most of all, take care of yourselves.